Thank you for choosing Sigma Tax Pro. Today, we're going to be introduced to Taxslayer, an intuitive, user-friendly software designed to make tax preparation simple and efficient. With its clean interface, easy navigation, and direct access to forms and entries, you'll be able to move through returns quickly and confidently without the usual hassle. Let's get started. First, we're going to start by logging into the software by entering our username and password, then clicking Login. Once you're in, you'll be taken to the main interface of the software, which includes the return list, mobile app, paper cut, as well as the configuration and utilities sections. In this walkthrough, we'll cover everything you need to get started, from creating a new return to e-filing, printing, and electronically signing the return. We'll also take a look at how the main features of the software work, so you can navigate it with confidence. To get started, let's take a look at the top section of the software. Here you'll find Client Status, which allows you to check the status of any e-filed return and see whether it was accepted or rejected. Right next to it, you'll see New Messages, where you can find updates related to the software or the IRS for the current year. We also have Paper Cut, which allows you to email returns to taxpayers, review documents they've sent, and access the customer portal, which is mainly used for having the taxpayer electronically sign their return. Next to that is Quick Calculation, which lets you estimate a refund before starting the actual tax return. Then we have Client Retention, which allows you to send a general message to your entire client list. Lastly, there's the Taxes to Go mobile app. This works just like the customer portal, allowing taxpayers to sign returns electronically, upload documents, and chat with you directly. And the best part is, all of these features are completely free as they won't cost you anything on use. Now that we've covered most of the features in the interface, let's take a look at how a tax return appears in the software. To start a new return, enter the Social Security number in the box labeled Edit or Start a New Return, then press Enter on your keyboard. After that, click Yes on the prompt to confirm that you want to start a new return. The first thing the software will ask for is the filing status. Once you've selected it, you'll be taken to the taxpayer's basic information screen, where you can enter details such as their full name, date of birth, and physical address. After entering all the required information in the designated fields, click OK to continue. Next, you'll see a summary of the information you've entered, along with additional sections such as yes or no questions about the taxpayer's disability and other addresses. All of this information helps the software determine how amounts will flow through the return later on, including credit eligibility, deduction limitations, and other related factors. After you've filled in all the necessary fields for your taxpayer, click Exit. The next section will ask about dependents. If applicable, select Yes, and a list will open. Click New to start entering the dependents' information. Once you've completed everything for the dependent, click OK to save. The next prompt you'll see is a question to determine the dependent's residency status. After answering it, you'll be taken to the Dependent Due Diligence section. Make sure to answer these questions carefully, as they play an important role in determining eligibility for credits such as the Child Tax Credit and the Earned Income Credit. Once you're done, click Exit to continue. After that, click Close to move on to the next section, which is Health Insurance from the Marketplace, also known as Form 1095A. If the taxpayer has this form, select Yes, and you'll be prompted to complete Form 80-62. If not, simply select No to continue to the next page. Next, you'll see a summary of all the basic information you've entered so far, including the taxpayer's name and address, dependents, filing status, and health insurance information related to Form 1095A. You'll also see additional categories with less common information for you to review, as well as the option to scan and upload documents to the tax return for future reference. Once you're done reviewing everything, click Exit. The next prompt will ask you to enter a W-2, which is the most common income form for an individual tax return. Click Yes, and a list will open. Then click New to add a W-2 form. When the form opens, begin entering the information exactly as it appears on the W-2 provided by the taxpayer. Once you've finished, exit the form by entering 0 in the box at the bottom right corner of the screen, then press Enter on your keyboard. Now that we've finished completing the W-2, we can exit the list. The next screen will take you to the Income section, where you can select and add any additional income forms. You'll fill them out the same way we did with the W-2. Once you're done, click Exit. Since we've added a W-2 with wages within the limit and a qualifying dependent, the software detects that the return may be eligible for the Earned Income Tax Credit and the Child Tax Credit. That's why the next screen we see is the Due Diligence section, which includes yes or no questions to help determine whether the taxpayer qualifies for these credits. Once you've answered all the questions, the software will display an indicator showing whether they qualify, usually within brackets. After completing all the questions, click Exit to proceed to the main return interface. Now that we're in the main return interface, we're going to find the 1040 form showing in the middle of the screen. That's because the software will be displaying the main individual forms in this place, such as the 1040 itself, Schedule 1 and Schedule 2 and 3. And on the top right corner, you will be able to see the current adjusted gross income and refund. And on the bottom right corner, you will be able to check all the forms that you've added entries in. And at the bottom middle of the screen, you will see Error System of the Return, which tells you if you're missing a form or an entry. And on your left-hand side, there's the Form Finder, which you can use to look for any form you want to add to the return and add it. And lastly, the return categories, which will help you check the entries you've made on the software and review them, such as the personal information, which we've gone through earlier. That as well for the income and credits. Within those categories, there's the option for you to add the state return and do any adjustments to it. However, the software will automatically carry over most of the required information to the state return based on the taxpayer's residency status. After opening the state return category, select the state you need to work on. You'll then be prompted to input identity verification information related to the taxpayer, and when you're done filling everything out, click OK. The next layer of information you will come across is the residency status, and after choosing it, you will be prompted with the county and school district questions where the taxpayer lives. Once chosen from the menus and completed, click Exit and you'll be taken to the main state interface. From there, you can view and adjust certain personal information, as well as make changes to income, credits, and payments by adding any necessary additions or subtractions. Before proceeding with e-filing the return, let's review it by printing it as a PDF. To do this, click on View Results, then choose the form you want to print, or simply click Print Return to print either the federal return, the state return, or both together. After selecting what you need to print, answer Yes to the prompt asking if you would like to print it as a PDF. Once completed, the PDF will begin generating and will then open for you to review. Now that we have reviewed our work and the return appears ready, we can begin finalizing it by adding our preparation fees. To do this, click Exit, and the section for entering fees will appear. Enter the preparation fee you would like to charge in the first section. Once completed, click Edit Client's Return to go back into the return interface. To e-file the tax return, click Mark Return Electronic. The first page you will come across is the disbursement method of the return. In other words, how the taxpayer will pay their balance due or receive their refund. On this page, if you are not using any bank products, select one of the available options for the taxpayer to either receive their refund or pay their balance due via a bank account or by check. After choosing the disbursement method, the 8879 information page will be the next screen you see. This page contains both your practitioner PIN and the taxpayer's PIN, which are automatically generated by the software using the last 5 digits of each of your Social Security numbers. After confirming the PIN numbers, you will be asked if you would like to print Form 8879 in case you want to review it. Once you have finished reviewing Form 8879, the software will display a summary of the e-file information entered for the return. Note that when you reach this page, the return has been marked and is ready to be transmitted to the IRS. However, before proceeding, make sure that if you have added a state return, it is also marked for e-filing. To do this, open the state return you added. Once you are in the main state interface, you will see the Electronic Information menu. When you click on it, you will be prompted to answer a few questions related to e-filing the state return. Once you reach the state summary screen, it means the return has been successfully marked and is ready to be e-filed. Now that we have marked both the federal and state returns, the next step is to exit the return. When you click Exit, a prompt will appear asking if you would like to add the return to the transmission table. Select Yes. Once you're back in the main software interface, click on E-File. Then select Transmit Electronic Returns. You will then see a list of all the returns that have been marked and are ready for transmission. All that remains is to click Transmit to e-file the returns in this list. After clicking Transmit, a prompt will appear asking if you would like to print a report showing how many returns you are transmitting and their types. After reviewing the report, click Connect, and this will transmit the returns. In Taxslayer desktop software, you can create both individual and corporate returns. The preparation process for corporate returns is very similar to that of federal individual returns. If you are preparing, for example, a Form 1120C, click on Business. This will open the corporate section of the software where you will find different types of business returns. Select 1120C. To start the corporate return, enter the EIN in the designated field, then press Enter on your keyboard. The return will begin by asking for information about the corporation and will then move on to other sections such as income, expenses, and the balance sheet, which relates to Schedule L, Schedule B, and other relevant entries. The way you input information into the return is essentially the same as with an individual return. However, when it comes to e-filing, after marking the return, you will need to click on the Electronic Filing menu in the Corporate Returns list and then proceed to e-file it the same way you would for an individual return. The last important feature to cover in the software is the electronic signature, which can be completed using the customer portal or the Taxes2Go mobile app. Since the returns we have been working on are demo returns, the next demonstration will show you how the electronic signature process works within an actual return. First, the taxpayer will need access to the customer portal. To set this up, click on Paper Cut at the top of the software. A menu will open. Select Customer Portal, then choose Manage Portals, followed by Current Year Clients. Next, locate the return for the taxpayer you want to request a signature from and click Create. Once you do that, a prompt will appear asking if you would like to send the portal link to the taxpayer via email or as a text message. After selecting the appropriate option, you will receive a confirmation prompt indicating that the portal has been successfully created and the link has been sent. This is what the email or text message will look like on the taxpayer's end. Once they open the link, they'll be prompted to create an account by setting up a username and password. After that, they'll need to verify their identity by matching the information shown with the details on the tax return you're preparing. Once everything is confirmed, they can simply click Submit to complete the process. After submitting, they'll be asked to verify their account. Once that's complete, they'll be taken to the main interface of the customer portal. From here, they can easily upload documents for you to review. To do this, they'll click on View Files under the My Files section, then select Upload Document, and choose the file they'd like to send. If you are trying to view documents sent by the taxpayer, open PaperCut. Then, from the Tax Returns menu, select the return for which you would like to view the documents. You will find the uploaded documents displayed in the box at the bottom of the screen. Returning to the customer portal interface from the taxpayer's perspective, if you want them to sign the tax return, first click Exit while inside the return. This will take you to the Receipt menu, where you typically enter your preparation fees. From there, click Send Documents to be signed, then select the forms you want the taxpayer to sign and click OK. They will then be able to find these documents you sent by clicking on View Files under Files from My Preparer. To review the return you sent, they will click View. To sign the return, they will click to Add Signature. Add their signature and then save it. Once the signature has been saved, they will see an option at the top that says Signature on File. This means the signature has been created, but it still needs to be applied to the tax return. To do that, they will click the blue Sign button. After that, the status should change to Signed. Once the taxpayer confirms that they have successfully signed the return, all you need to do is to click on Document Signature Manager in the Receipt menu, and the status of the signature should be showing On File. That's your indicator that the signatures have been applied to the tax return. One more thing to note about the electronic signature is that the taxpayer can also complete it through the Taxes to Go mobile app. They can download the app using the link provided in the software release email. Otherwise, it will be provided by the technical support for you when you receive a call to be notified about the software release. And once installed, they'll be able to sign documents and send you files the same way we did through the customer portal. And with that, we've wrapped things up and covered all the basics of the software, from the essential buttons to starting and finalizing a tax return, and finally, how to e-file it. If you've made it to the end of this walkthrough, we'd like to thank you so much for your time and patience in learning about our product. And of course, thank you for choosing Sigma Tax Pro.